This right here is an anthill, and today I forced 100 Minecraft players against each other in an anthill simulation. Players fought hunger, mobs, and each other within a combined space that was impossible to escape. Players were in hardcore though. That means that if players died, they're dead. Players also had to survive the whole event being 5 times smaller than their regular size. If you would like to see more of these videos, please give me some Robux. I'm broke and I'm desperate. And you know what I'm also desperate for? For you to click the subscribe button, like it, and comment down below. And if you want to join these events, please join the Discord in the description. Now sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and prepare to witness the 100 player Anthill civilization. Right as the event started, the players immediately began destroying the anthill looking for vital resources. They were restricted to the upper dirt layer where they could only find iron and coal ore. There was so much iron and coal around though that after a few minutes, many players already had armor. Some lucky ants though stumbled upon one of 3 special rooms, each holding unique treasures that could turn the tide of the event in their favor. The nether room was full of crazy loot, containing diamond armor and weapons, a few potions, and even a totem of undying. Next up, the stone room contained diamond armor and weapons, diamonds, and golden carrots. The wooden room had the best loot though. It was full of diamonds, diamond tools, potions, and even some netherite ingots. However, this room was trapped with an absurd amount of TNT. That means that if players were not careful, kaboom! In the red colony, players immediately began to gather resources. Many of them wasted 0 time and began to dig down and look for iron and coal. Those who weren't mining though, began gathering wood, farming, and trading with their peers. It was overall a positive environment full of trade and opportunity, with only small scale fights between each other and with the other colony. For the first bit, Red didn't really focus on building a base though. I guess they were just extroverted ants or something, because most of them were just chilling on the top messing around. Blue on the other hand was way more problematic. Although they were quick to gather resources like the Red colony, this colony chose to make a short-lived project, the Big People Zoo, where the remaining large-sized players were beaten senseless until they got bored.
I got one! Get me out here!
I needed some clarification, bro, because the event had just started and the ants were already being inhumane. Although these players would soon become small, the majority of the big players held on to this traumatic event, and they chose to hide underground and build their home apart from the rest. Another problem with the blue ants is that they were hella lazy and they did not want to grow their own food. Instead, they were starving and they kept begging for some rations. It was pathetic. It was to the point where even the big people that they were abusing had to give them some food. So instead, they decided on a plan. They insisted on sacrificing one of their fellow ants for some food.
In exchange, I'll give you a bed. Your system's so nice. I'll overpay a bit and throw 2 pieces of bread.
You can't bribe the owner.
And he'll throw in his life. And he'll throw in his life. Epoch will give up his life.
Yeah.
Epoch, will you sacrifice yourself? Actually, no, I don't want to sacrifice Epoch. Wait, Oakram. This guy right here. This guy right in front of me. If we sacrifice him...
And like a good man, I accepted it and gave them 22 potatoes in exchange for one of their friends. Man, I'm such a good person. After a while though, both colonies settled down, gave food to their fellow ants, and chose to mess around and simply have some fun. Also, what is up with you guys having weird skins and names? We have a Giga Chad, a guy named Zaza Lover, and a buff Papa Smurf whose name is the Ohio Feet Tickler. What is going on? Remember when I said the map was impossible to escape? I was very wrong. On the outside of the map, a red ant known as Tonk somehow managed to escape and started to build a skybase isolated from everybody else. Although his house wasn't much, it was honest work. A true working man. Bro truly had no enemies. It was the most beautiful, majestic things my eyes had ever witnessed. So I decided to help him out, give him some blocks, and I promised I would come back and check on him later on.
Yeah.
Hey, here, take this.
Thank you.
I'll be back. I love this.
I love you too.
Back to the other ants though, they were about to face the most important decision in the whole event. They were now about to choose their colony's queen. Now. I know what you might be wondering. Oakram, what the hell does a queen even do? Well, remember when I said the event was in hardcore? I lied, kinda. You see, the queen was meant to be a leader of some sort, and the anchor to each team's population. As long as the queen survived, players were freely able to respawn and continue their journey. On the other hand, the moment the queen died, the event then became hardcore, and no other ants from that colony could respawn. If ants wanted to keep playing, they would need to protect the queens with their life. Many tried convincing others to choose them as queen. Some listed reasons why they would be a good queen, some bribed others, and some people didn't give a single dookie. And after spamming in chat and fighting for what seemed like ages, the blue colony's election was between Sword to Die and Eopoker. And when it was over, Eopoker was elected queen. Eopoker, you're queen, bro! And for the red team, a player called Stuck in VR was unanimously elected. There you go, you're queen. By hour 2, everything was set, and now that both sides had their queen, they could finally unite and become one powerful army. Except that never happened. All players sucked cheeks at communicating, and both queens struggled to gather their teams up and unite. With the role of the queen being close to insignificant to other players, the queens had no choice but to gather as many people as they could and build their own anthill. Red Colony's queen Stuck in VR was quicker to gather people. Once he gathered his few followers, he began making Red Team's base. The base was really cool as it consisted with a lot of complex rooms for each member.
The entrance to our what's it called?
Oakram who rigged the election.
By the way, Smoke to Die is killing blue people,
Inside, we
red
got
people.
our first room. Yep. We got our first room. And then our second
Lovely
room,
and
we don't really have
spacious.
anything inside. But somebody already has a little house right here. Yeah, this is Toby's
My room.
This is Toby's room.
On the blue side, nobody would listen to Eopoker. Ants were too busy doing their own thing, and many were annoyed at the fact that Swords to Die didn't win. But once Eopoke was able to gather a handful of people along with Swords to Die, they set out on the side and began constructing a giant wall. Away from Blue's main base though, chaos was right around the corner. There were rumors of a rogue blue ant group with the plan of killing Red's king. Some of these ants were seen killing random red ants and taking all their loot. Once Stuck in VR had heard the news of a possible attack, he grouped up his followers and planned out what their strategy would be in case of an attack. Before they made any rash decisions though, Stuck in VR and his followers met up with Eopoker and his followers and they talked about the rumors. Once they were done, they ended in peaceful terms as Eopoker claimed that he was not a part of the planned attack. That didn't mean that Red was safe though. The Blue Rogue group was created by a player by the name of Blazenbig, who had created the group with some of his friends, X Forever, Light Stormy, Refon, Zazaliver, and Spieler Bone. These players were equipped with diamond and iron gear, and they only had one goal in their mind: to completely exterminate the red ants and invade red territory. In simple words, a genocide. Their first and most important target, Stuck in VR. Once they were all ready, the attack began.
Storm the place, storm.
Wait, what? Wait, do you
They
know where
instantly
they killed
began
them?
killing any red ants in sight without any mercy, unless the red ant snitched and gave out the king's coordinates. Nobody would give in though, so they had no choice but to dig around and look for him. Stuck in VR on the other hand, had heard the people dying above ground and quickly decided to meet up with his followers. They all quickly dug underground away from the anthill, covering the tracks they left behind. Stuck in VR had escaped, and for the moment, he was safe. He gathered up with his group for one last time and sent them off until it was safe above ground. But before he left, he gave one ant by the name of Darius a special task. He was to break into the blue colony and kill Eopoker. You see, Stuck in VR had found out that Eopoker had actually lied and he did in fact have to do something with the planned attack. If Stuck in VR was going to die, he would bring down Eopoker with him. Away from main base, Tonk was living his best life. He had used the materials I had given him and he had made his house even better. He also somehow managed to get two of his friends, Frank Jonas and Surge4, to live with him. Unlike the rest of the server, all three of them managed to live in peace and tranquility. As a parting gift, I gave them a gorilla spawn egg, but little did I know this would lead to devastating effects. As they were running around, Frank Jonas wasn't paying attention, and he fell off the map. Then not soon after, Surge4 had accidentally punched the gorilla, and without any way to defend himself, Surge4 was obliterated, and now Tonk had to live the rest of his days in solitude. My boy Tonk was devastated, and in an act of desperation, he killed the gorilla that had killed his friend. Tonk had made his first enemy. So I bid my farewells and promised them I'd come back later again. Meanwhile, the red colony was in shambles. Eopoker and his blue colony were thriving. They had even finished their anthill and decorated it. So I asked for a little tour.
I want you to place it down on the floor. We got
I'm really terrible at this.
you know, you also got the podium here, you know, the podium where I say, like, do stuff. And they're like, okay.
Well, you're not really using that much.
And then you gotta go for a swim here, you know, after a long day.
And you have our grand industrial area over here where all the smelting gets done. The mines
there's
are
aggressive
underneath
red
it,
ants at
within
the
one
border.
confined area, and we have
There's
these amazing
aggressive red ants
without
at the
any
border.
red ants. Yeah, well they're not in
I
our
placed the
kingdom,
water
are they?
bucket, guys.
They are.
In the middle of the tour though, they were attacked by the same guy sent by Stuck in VR, Darius. Due to the player's abnormally small size though, he was able to sneak in without anybody spotting him until it was too late. He quickly ran and massacred ants in the colony. Even when the ants respawned, he would kill them over and over. Eopoker had no choice but to run away. Eopoker ran out of his hill trying to escape Darius, and just when he thought he was safe, Eopoker was slain, and Darius had completed his mission. On hour 3, a massive change was about to happen. Players now had access to the second stone layer. If players decided to go explore down there, they could find new ores, specifically diamonds. There were also 2 rooms within this layer. The first room was an underground forest guarded by a huge spider, which contained netherite tools and armor, and an elytra. The second room was an underground cavern full of water and coral. The room was guarded by a few snapping turtles and a massive hammerhead shark. If players managed to sneak past the shark, they would be able to find a few netherite ingots. The stone layer was also home to cave centipedes, which compared to players, they were massive and dangerous. These centipedes began crawling out of the stone layer and into the dirt tunnels which the players had dug out. Most of the underground bases slowly began getting infested by these cave centipedes. Most players either chose to retreat and run out of the base, but in the case of the big people, they decided to stand their ground and fight the centipedes. Although the players were now small like the rest of the players, they managed to trap the centipedes and one by one, they killed them off, successfully defending their base from the hostile insects. As soon as the players noticed an opening in the lower level, they slowly began mining down in hopes for diamonds. A player called Allow Light was the first one to make it underground. Once they had found both rooms, they looted up and attempted to kill the huge spider guarding the forest. Allow Light was surprisingly doing really good against the spider, which could literally two-shot him at any moment. But it was too good to be true. Cave centipedes had made their way into the cavern and ambushed him in the middle of the fight. Although he tried running away, the mobs were able to overpower him and there was nothing he could do. In only a few minutes, Allow Light was murked by the bugs. Back in the Red Colony, Stuck in VR was still hiding. He kept moving around so nobody could find his location. He had no contact with any of his colony and he was slowly going insane. He was stuck in a little dark hole with nothing but his mind. Then, suddenly, he was free. The Blue Rogue group had finally found Stuck in VR, and out of the sky dropped all of its members. Stuck in VR had no chance to escape, and in less than a minute, Zaza Lover had slain Stuck in VR. This was a devastating blow to the already crippling peaceful life between the ants. Now that both queens were gone, no ants could further respawn. Without the leaders between the colonies, the ants had resorted to anarchy. In the middle of all this chaos, Sword to Die took it upon himself to lead the blue colony. Unlike Eopoker, Swords to Die had a more aggressive way of leading. Swords preferred a more militarized, aggressive lifestyle for the colony. The moment that Swords took control, he shifted the colony's goal. Swords was tired of living a peaceful life in the Anthill. He was thirsty for blood. He wanted to conquer and invade the whole map. In his eyes, as long as red ants were alive, peace was unobtainable. Swords' aggressive goals matched perfectly with the Blue Rogue group responsible for assassinating Stuck in VR. And together, they decided to join forces and kill Red together, calling themselves the Elite Squad. The new group consisted of only a few members, but everybody had their specific role. Refund was their tank, Light Stormy was the backup fighter, Blazing Pig and Zaza Lover were the trap makers, and Swords to Die was their leader. Together, their first target was the one that had attacked them and killed their queen, Darius. Before going for the kill though, Zaza Lover and Refund had set up a pitfall trap that they could use to kill Darius. The group doubted the trap's efficiency though, and instead of helping, they went on to go scout for Darius. Once Darius was spotted, the group instantly went for the attack. Darius was stuck in a 5v1 and he refused to back down. This fight lasted for ages, and my man Darius was just pounding on every single person that went against him. Like, honestly, bro, my respect. In the middle of the fight, the elite squad tried using their trap, but they had failed. Darius had barely missed it, and he remained alive. So he decided to go down and check the trap and kill anybody who was left stuck in there. Then he decided to go back up and kill the others. On his way back, Darius spotted someone without armor, Light Stormy. Darius immediately started to target Light Stormy, and in only a few matter of minutes, Light Stormy had fallen prey to Darius. After Light Stormy's death, the team was enraged. They needed revenge. Darius decided to come back for round 2 and take on the rest of the elite squad. In the middle of the fight though, he realized that it was too much for him, and he started to run away and tried to escape. While escaping though, Darius had forgotten about the trap that Zazzalover had left behind. By the end, by some miracle, Darius had fallen into Zazzalover's trap, and this time, he died to fall damage, ultimately completing the elite squad's goal of killing Darius. After this, the group felt unstoppable. Although they had lost Light Stormy, they had killed Darius in exchange. This sudden rush of power though, would lead to the elite squad's demise. Now that Darius was dead, the group went around killing any red ant they could see. Their next target was the skybase. The elite squad surrounded the skybase and began to build up to the skybase, reaching the unsuspecting ants. While attacking, Swords was very rash, and as he was building to the skybase, the block he was standing on was broken, and he fell to his death. And although Swords died, the elite squad was successfully able to take over the skybase. Swords' fall quickly started the squad's demise, because not soon after, a blue ant named Simon Blackwood ambushed and killed Zazzalover in the name of restoring peace. The elite squad was quickly losing its numbers at the cost of the red ant's population. Meanwhile, all of this was going on, Tonk was still living his best life, I think. Although all his friends had died, he replaced them with a crap load of animals that he would call family, along with Perry the platypus. The solitude that Tonk was going through had caused him to go insane, and to cope with this, he decided to beat and eat his animals to feel happiness.
It's my lunch.
Tonk especially hated his kangaroos, who he would just boot off the island for no apparent reason.
Get off, you disgusting pig. Get comboed, loser.
To help him feel less lonely, I decided to spend some time with him. So Tonk decided to give me a tour of his house.
I thought that was dangerous. It could hurt my babies, so I threw them away. Not the babies that flower, not the, okay. Yeah, so here's my sign. It's just a sign. Very important. We used to have a TV here. It broke. I gotta say though, my couch is like massive compared to me. Here I've got my crafting table. I craft things on it. I wish I could walk under my bed, but I can't do that, so. Oh no, I can! So first I wake up. I gotta brush my teeth. Where's my toothbrush? Here's my toothbrush. Next thing. I need to do my bed. Which is very easy. I can just get my children to do it. They're not very good at it though, so I have to do it about half an hour later. Up here I have my roof. Hey, did you just punch my child? Good job. I'll give you 20 if you punch my kid.
In the middle of his tour though, I accidentally called him short, and I guess he was self-conscious about it because he started telling me he was tall.
I'm behind you. I'm on the floor. I'm pretty small. Yeah, I get it. Fine. I'm technically 6 foot.
I was also really curious on how Tonk escaped the map. So in response to this, Tonk decided to show me the pilgrimage he took to get to where he is now. This is where I realized that Tonk had just escaped spawn and walked around the whole damn map just to get to his skybase.
Alright, what happens if I sprint? Oh no, I'm so fast. Well, I'm not fast, but I'm just like small. So I came this way, I think, and then I was like, wow. I'm just gonna walk around this bit, and I was like running here and all that, doing this for a straight 10 minutes.
All good things though have to come to an end. Due to the diminishing count of the players alive, the border began closing in. Tonk had to leave his house and escape to the middle of the map if he wanted to stay alive. Once the border had stopped, 4 players were left alive: Wheatlit, Reefon, Simon Blackwood, and Tonk. Out of these 4 players, only 1 would come out alive. Tonk was at a severe disadvantage. Due to him escaping the map, Tonk never really focused on gathering materials to make himself armor and weapons. His only chance to make it out alive was to run and hope he didn't get hit. Due to his abnormally small size though, Tonk was able to run around and avoid getting hit. But because he had no armor, everybody decided to chase him around and kill him first.
You're so small, I can't.
I'm running. Please.
You're getting it, bro. You're getting it.
So tiny.
Please. I have babies. I have family responsibilities.
What is it?
Yo, he's tiny.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
It's so fast.
Nobody could touch my boy Tonk. He was too small for that and he kept dodging every single attack. This all ended though when Tonk ran out of food. Refund was able to catch up to him and he delivered the final blow.
Oh.
With Tonk out of the way, there were only 3 players left: Wheatlet, Refund, and Simon Blackwood. As they all began to fight, Refund chose to leave Simon for last, so that he could avenge his fallen friend Zaza Lover.
Bro, this is impossible.
This is impossible. I am surprised I've even hit him once. Like,
Simon Blackwood had finally killed Wheatlet, and now the last 2 players were 2 blue ants: Refund and Simon Blackwood. Zaza Lover's friend versus Zaza Lover's killer.
how have I hit you?
Refund had finally killed Simon Blackwood, and in return, he had avenged his fallen friend. And in the end, only one stood tall. Refund had emerged victorious as the last ant alive, claiming his victory not only for himself and his team, but for his friends in the elite squad who had died along the process. And just like that is how the 100-player Anthill civilization ended.